Hi everyone, I am here today with a book review for you, and it's been quite a while since I've read this. I feel a bit rusty, so we'll see how this goes, but I've got my notes. So yeah, I want to review today The Breakdown by B.A. Paris, which was a 5-star read for me earlier this year that I received from the publisher via NetGalley in turn for an honest review. And this is a psychological thriller that literally blew me away. Ever since I read it, I've been going around recommending it to anyone and everyone. It has been out in the UK for some time, but it only came out in the US last month, I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, last month. So people in the UK have had quite a while to get to this one, but maybe you're in another country where it's not been out and about and you've not heard much about it yet, and oh my goodness, you need to pick this book up. So let me start by saying this is a psychological thriller that kept me guessing the entire way. Like, I was just constantly like, what? No, yeah, no, like totally rearranging my thoughts, totally rearranging what I thought was going on, who I thought was responsible for things, and it just caught me off guard at every turn. So the story follows a young woman named Cass, and she lives in the middle of nowhere with her husband in quite a nice big, like countryside house. And she's on her way home from like a gathering with friends or something, and there is awful weather, and she rings her husband along the way, just says that she's on her way home. And he's like, okay, be careful because of the storm, and don't take the shortcut in this weather at this time of night. And she's like, oh no, of course I won't, driving along this main road. But when she sees the shortcut, she takes it. And so the story sort of picks up from there, really, because she drives down this country lane and she sees a car parked at the side of the road, looking quite shifty. You can't see an awful lot because the rain is hammering down. So she drives past really slowly, sort of peeps into the car and sees that there is a woman there. And so she pulls over just in front of this car, thinking maybe this woman's in trouble or needs some sort of help. So she waits to see whether the woman signals to her, because she doesn't want to actually sort of get out of the car herself, because A, it's raining really badly, but B, it's also like quite a risk. It's a dangerous thing and situation to put yourself in. So she waits to see if this woman does anything, which she doesn't. So she goes to drive off a little bit just to warn the woman that she's not going to wait all day. But, you need to signal if you want some sort of help. And again, the woman doesn't do anything, so she thinks, okay then, you're obviously fine doing whatever you're doing, waiting for someone to come out and help you, whatever. So she drives off, goes home, gets in bed, thinks nothing more about it. Wakes up the next morning to find out that this woman has been murdered. And this is just the edge of the story, really. I can't even get into the depths of how insane this story gets, because this is just such a small aspect. Cass basically ends up almost losing her mind because of things that go on in this story. She becomes quite an unreliable narrator. You don't know what is going on. Meanwhile, you doubt everything about the husband. Anyone and everyone you come across, you're constantly like, did you kill this woman? Can I trust you? And things like that. And it's just like, it's a roller coaster. It's a real roller coaster. The Breakdown as a title is such a clever title, because it matches so many different aspects of this book. And I can't recommend this enough, honestly. I honestly found this book truly addictive. And it was one of those books that totally consumed me. I couldn't think of anything else while I was reading it. I was just, oh my God, this book, everything about this book. Going into work, telling my friends about it, mid-reading it even, and being like, you need to pick up this book, and just like, it consumed me. It was almost like I was in the story. I couldn't stop thinking about it all the time. And it was definitely the sort of book that I would have read in one sitting if I hadn't had such commitments as work. Even now, like probably not 6 months later, let me have a look actually. When did I read this book? Okay, I found it. I apparently finished reading, according to Goodreads, this book on the 14th of February. That was 6 months ago, over 6 months ago. And despite the fact that I needed to refresh myself a bit and keep notes in front of me in order to be able to actually review this book this far on after reading it, at the same time, it's not half as difficult as what another book would be 6 months down the line to review. Like, this is actually relatively easy. It's all coming flooding back to me. The actual book itself stayed with me for several months, and this is definitely going to be one of my favourite reads of the year, without a doubt one of my favourite books of all time, and would definitely be in my top 10 psychological thrillers of all time as well. So this is just like such an amazing book. And I really do wonder how an author can write this many sort of twists and turns. It's like, how do you even how do you even come up with these sort of things? Like, it's not the sort of thing that you could guess. It's not your typical stuff that you would necessarily come in contact with a psychological thriller. It's just such a clever book. The characters are all really well developed as well. They feel really real. They feel like someone you could just bump into in the street. And I felt genuinely quite sorry for Cass for a lot of the story, because I'd be terrified if I was her. A lot of the books I read don't really make me all that scared or on edge, but at the time of reading this book there'd been a spate of like burglaries and things like that in the area where I'm living, and to read a book like this when there've been things like that happening, I started hearing things. It made me a bit paranoid. It made me start, you know, double checking doors and windows were locked and that kind of thing. It was just really freaking me out, and it's rare that a book has that sort of effect on me. And I'd almost say that it shook me up a little bit on some occasions, reading this late at night, home alone in some cases, in the dark. Not always the best of ideas, but at the same time it was lovely to actually feel like a book was having an effect on me and was actually scaring me, because as I said, it's rare that that happens. So as I said, I can't recommend this book enough. I highly recommend it. I do have this author's other novel, is it called Behind Closed Doors? And I've not read that yet, but I am desperate to, and indeed I am desperate to read anything else that this author brings out in the future, because I want more fear in my life. So thank you so much for watching this review. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe by clicking the image of me just there if you want to see more book reviews and other bookish content from me. And I will see you tomorrow with a discussion. Bye bye!